one of the big things about becoming parents, I think you just gotta enter it with that understanding that life is gonna change. The more you give yourself fully to it,
Yes.
I think the more of the reward that you experience. What am I giving priority to, and what am I spending my time on?
Yeah.
And as a guy, I had a career, I have ministry, and I'll invest in those things. My natural slant is towards that. But I think by having kids, it's kind of taught me the real value. And kids get to you in a way that no other relationship do. I think that elevates, for me, my role as a dad, and it elevates the whole exercise of parenting. There's something more than just all the stuff that I gotta get done.
Hey, welcome to the Live Full podcast, where we talk about all things faith, family, and living fully the life God wants for you. On today's episode, I'm really excited because I have my husband back with me on the show. Hey, Chris, welcome back.
It's great to be back. It's been a while.
It's been a while since we last recorded, at least. Yeah.
What's been going on since?
Well, so many things have happened, really. For example, we have Christmas decor up in our house.
Do you have
see
Christmas
the little tree
decorations?
here. We have our tree up already, so we did that pretty early.
Yeah, we always love getting into the Christmas spirit. So
Yeah.
already, it's now Christmas music in the car, in the house, in our room.
Yeah.
Let's see how long it goes before we get tired of it.
No, I don't think so. It's like really the most wonderful time of the year for us, at least. We enjoy it so much.
You even have a Christmas pillow.
We do have Christmas pillows.
All is calm.
Yeah, this is my Christmas tree pillow. I got a bunch of them when we were overseas because I just want to make sure that our house is full of the Christmas spirit.
Love it.
Well, the other thing too is for some of you who are new listeners, I'm so grateful that Salt and Light, which is a local kind of Christian, publication, they featured the podcast, which is such a blessing. And I think because of that, I probably gained a few new listeners. So welcome if you're new. And maybe a quick introduction. So this is my husband, Chris, and we've been married for 13 years now. And if you've seen some of our older episodes, you would hear a bit of our story, and you can catch up with that. We also have 3 kids, not so young anymore. One's 10, one's 8, and the last one is almost 5, right?
He's turning 5
He's
soon.
turning 5 soon.
Yeah.
Well, we are all year-end babies. And in fact, our older 2 just celebrated their birthdays. So a week ago, they celebrated their birthdays. Their birthdays are 1 day apart.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
It was kind of a funny story. So Josiah's 10, so he was born on the 2nd of November, and then 2 years later, we were expecting Sarah, and you went into labor on Josiah's birthday.
That's right.
At midnight on his birthday.
Yep.
And so I was like, this is the best thing ever, because we just have one date to remember. And then you were like,
I was like, no, this is the worst thing ever. I don't want them to have the same birthday. How sad is that?
And I was convinced that Sarah would be born on that day because you went into labor, I think like midnight on the 2nd of November.
Yes.
And I was like, man, I mean, unless your labor takes more than 24 hours, like they're going to be on the same day.
We activated the tribe and said, okay, I'm going into labor, so get ready. You probably have to take Josiah. And I was really sad for him also because I thought, but we're going to miss out on celebrating. We had the whole day planned out for him, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'm going to be really sad that we miss out on celebrating his birthday. Then I ended up, going to the hospital. And the weird thing is, I don't know if this has happened to anyone else, but my contractions stopped.
Yep.
And it stopped, and then I was discharged from the hospital. But I remember my gynae saying, look, if you get contractions again, make sure you run back to the hospital, because the last time something like that happened, that lady ended up like giving birth in a car. So I thought that was pretty funny, that, but in the end, God answered my prayer, and she came out like a few hours after that. After I was discharged from the hospital.
Well, you were discharged the next day, so we had already
Yes.
spent the day of
The
Josiah's
night, yes.
birthday in the hospital.
Mhm.
And so I guess Sarah just wouldn't have it.
Yeah,
She
I
was like,
guess
I'm not sharing birthdays.
No, she's special too.
She is special. Yeah.
And so a few hours right after I got discharged, my contractions came back again, and I gave birth like quite quickly after that.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. So we just celebrated their birthdays. I mean, we're at the point of this recording.
Yeah.
They celebrated it last weekend.
Yes.
Well, a couple of weekends ago, and had a great night. It was crazy. It's always that 1 week where you're planning 2
Yeah.
birthday parties, 2 sets of friends.
Yes.
Lots of parties and celebrations, but it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we love our kids, you know, and so today actually that's something we thought we'll talk about a bit,
Yeah.
right? I love everything else that we get to do. I love that we get to lead people. I love that I get to do this podcast, right? I love that, you know, I have hobbies like, you know, I used to teach. I used to be a teacher. All these wonderful things, but I think most of all, I love being a mom.
Mm.
I love doing that. And I was just telling you, right? Actually, during that weekend of their birthdays, yeah, I was looking for some photos of Josiah when he was younger.
Mm.
Basically, our eldest turned 10 this year, right? So it's a decade, basically, of us being parents. A decade is a big deal. And so I wanted to find like his old photo, you know, when he was very young, when he was a baby, and kind of compare it like 10 years later. So I was looking through all these old photos, you know, it's so cute, so cute, so cute. I got a little bit emotional actually looking through the photos because I don't know, maybe I just miss like them being so young.
Yeah.
Maybe I think the biggest thing was I just felt like wow, I've really enjoyed it so much, you know, like these past 10 years. Of course there are challenges. Of course there are ups and downs. Of course like there are difficult times where I felt like I was going to give up, but it's been quite the ride and I've loved like every moment, every difficulty, every challenge, but also all the fun times that we've had, you know.
Yeah.
And so what a blessing it is actually.
Yeah, it really is. Just celebrating their birthdays too, and they're at this stage now where they've got all their own friends. But you also get to be a part, I think, of the things that they enjoy and they like doing. So, small things like for Josiah, we organized a football party for him,
Mhm.
and so I was the referee, I guess, and seeing the what was it, 10 or 15 of his friends and boys like coming together and him just having a blast and just getting to be a part of that,
Yeah.
like doing the things that he enjoys doing, and
Mm.
getting to organize that and do that for him, like even small things like that, like such a joy.
Yeah, you know, I mean, okay, obviously we're not parenting experts, right? A decade is long, but not that long.
It's not I feel like
No,
we're just getting
we're
started
just
actually.
getting started and we're seeing how every season is so different, like what it demands from us
Yeah.
or what the, you know, or what is necessary that we need to help them with. You know, it's different in every season.
Mhm.
And I think and today I think we just want to share a bit of our favorite
Yep.
like moments and times. And I think maybe to really address this thing about how children are a blessing,
Yeah.
you know. I feel like, you know, even in the newer, and I wouldn't say we're that old, but I think, you know, younger parents or younger like couples, I've seen that trend a little bit, especially in a city like Singapore, where they're either very hesitant to have kids
Hmm.
or feel like, oh, I'm done with one, you know, because they feel like it's been so difficult. You know, it's hard, right? And I see that, I understand that, but yet, today we really want to talk about them as a blessing,
Hmm.
right? We want to talk about them just like what the Bible says. In fact, I'll just read out from the Bible. It says in Psalm 127, verse 3, it says, children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him, you know. And so from just this one verse, right, I think two clear things kind of stick out to me. One is that they're heritage, and that speaks of legacy. It speaks of something that we leave behind, you know,
Hmm.
with them and through them. There's some kind of legacy. And then the idea of a reward, right? They are a reward, they're a blessing.
Mm.
Some versions even say they're a gift,
Mm.
which is such a beautiful thing, right? Especially in this time of Christmas, we talk about giving presents, right? And how people are so happy about that. And they are a gift. And
Yeah.
sometimes in the in the mess of parenting, they may not feel like it.
Yep.
We've talked to people before where they said, yeah, you know, kids just have no, you cannot return them. Basically, once you have them, you have them. There's no return policy, right? But to really, you know, I think take God's word as it is, right? That one, that it speaks of legacy, that their heritage,
Yeah.
but also they're such a blessing.
Mm.
Yeah. And so, even with that, right? I mean, we've always talked about this even before we were parents. Life looks a bit different,
Yeah.
right, as parents.
Yeah. It does. I mean, one of the big things about becoming parents, I think you just gotta first enter it with that understanding that life is gonna change.
Mm.
I think a big part of the transition into parenthood is to recognize that there are some things that you used to do or some ways that we used to live
Yeah.
that will have to change. And I think part of I don't know, the not struggle, but part of like that challenge in entering parenthood is feeling like you lost something. I had to give up something, and you feel a loss because I had to give up my old lifestyle. But it's not something you lose. I think it's just a change that you got to be mentally like prepared for.
Yeah.
So we talk about say holidays, like for example, we still go on holidays with kids,
Yeah.
but they look different. They
Yes.
definitely look different than when they were infants.
Yes.
You can't keep up that same kind of pace. You're not doing the same things you used to do. As they get older, you do more kids activities.
Yeah.
We won't just be lounging in cafes all day long, or, like doing stuff that couples without like kids would do. Um, but just to recognize that, yeah, it is different, and there's
Yes.
a different kind of blessing that is found in those
Yeah.
experiences. And I think it's a big part of that. Sometimes we jump into parenthood and you're like, oh my gosh, like life's just not the same anymore, man. Kids, wow, I have to give up so
Yep.
much for them, and it's almost seen more negative. But if you enter with the understanding that it's okay, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Most holidays, to be honest, we come back and we're kind of tired. You're not super rested,
Mm.
just because you're managing a much bigger family and all that. But the kind of memories you make are invaluable,
Yeah.
and it's different. So there is a transition, I think, when you have kids, but there's a different type of blessing to be found. When we were first married, oh man, you could do anything you want.
We went skydiving, I remember.
You'll skydive and you would, anytime you can go out or travel or things like that. When you pack, you're not spending a week before trying to make sure you got
Yep,
diapers and all
that's
that
me.
kind of thing. I'll throw things in the bag and we'll go. And now it takes a bit more work, but it's okay. I mean, to just recognize it as a different season and something different, and to find the joy and the happiness that is in that.
Yep. Yep.
And I think that's one big thing I think that we've tried to just recognize, and not to say like, oh, it's so bad now, it's so different now, but no, it's just a different season.
Yeah, I think we are also people who just like kind of go with the flow,
Yeah,
you know.
totally fine.
And that's something you've probably taught me too. Like I used to be very like caught up with a certain way of life, or a certain way to like live. And then even before we had Josiah, I remember having conversations with you, right, about how we were going to parent him, how we were
Hmm.
going to live our lives, and not to let it consume us,
Yeah,
but that they would kind of like flow with the way that we are already living,
yeah,
And so yes, we have to make adjustments, just like with every transition, right? Every change that comes along the way. Even you talk about trips, right? Taking holiday trips. Actually, I really enjoy them,
yeah.
and they are very exhausting
Hmm.
because I remember on trips when I would pack, unpack, pack, unpack, like put on layers of clothes on them, take out the layers after that,
Yeah, yeah.
and then like have to think about every single detail about what to bring so that, we don't forget anything. But my favorite thing about it was that it was off routine, that
Mm,
that was what I enjoyed. I
mm,
enjoyed it so much that it's different from what we be used to like on a daily basis at home. And so maybe it was learning to find the joy
yeah,
in or find the right the the good things out of a not so easy situation.
yeah,
And not to say that I didn't enjoy any of the trips. I love them.
yeah,
I mean, so many memories,
yeah.
so many good things that took place.
I think about this is nothing to do with kids, but I think it's similar. I remember when I went to school in the US, and I went to this place where winter was 6 months long.
Mm.
And it would snow from, I don't know, October all the way through March. And we're from Singapore, right? It's the tropics.
Yes.
And then to go, and it's freezing cold. It's like minus 20 degrees.
Yeah.
The days are short. And one perspective towards it is like, oh my gosh, this is so bad.
Mm.
It's so cold. It's so miserable. And you could live in that for 4 to 6 months of the year. But I found that the way to really not just get over it, but to
Yeah.
enjoy it is to go all in with winter.
I love it.
Go skiing,
Yeah.
like get in the cold, like
Yeah.
throw on a few jackets, go snowboarding, go build, I don't know, snowmen, like find things to do. And I found like the deeper I went into that, actually the more I grew to enjoy it. And I think like parenting's a bit like that.
Yeah.
Like get in the mess, man.
Yes.
Like get in the exhaustion. It's fine. Like just go, and the more you give yourself to it, I feel like the more you get out of it.
Yeah.
But it's when you're trying to like, well, let me preserve some space for my old routines and let me
Wow.
manage this and balance that. I think that's where you feel like so much of the tension. But
Mm.
just to know that, man, if you have kids already, like, hey, they're a blessing from God. If you don't have kids yet, people always ask, how do I know when I'm ready for kids? I mean, you just never know.
Yeah.
You go for it, and the more you give yourself fully to it,
Yes.
I think the more of the reward that you experience.
Yeah, and be okay to be thrown off.
Yep.
I think that's what I've been learning too. Especially with kids, you can't quite plan things out
Mm.
as you expect, right? A lot of things are unexpected, just as life is, right?
Yeah.
And so I love your example because I think that's a picture of how we can loosely hold on to our own plans. Or loosely hold on to our own expectations of what, say, or maybe say what a holiday should look like, what our life should look like,
Yeah.
right? When
Yeah.
we have kids, but embrace everything,
Yep.
embrace the difficulty, embrace the change, embrace like all of the I don't know, even challenges that comes with it.
Hmm.
But you know what, there's also lots of fun.
Yeah.
I think about all the times when we just laugh and then we look at each other and like, that was so cute,
Hmm. Yeah.
or like, when we go on dates, or sometimes when the kids go to bed, I can't wait for them to go to bed because, that's a beautiful time. But then like we would end up talking about the kids. We'll
Mm.
end up talking about or looking at photos of them. Right?
Yeah.
And like, why do we do that, right? Because I think at the core of who we are, actually, we do enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
We do love it. And I want the kids to see that. I want the kids to see that we enjoy spending time with them, that we
Hmm.
love being around them.
Hmm.
I think it changes the way they would
Hmm.
see us,
Yeah.
see themselves, that they're not a burden,
Yep.
and that they truly are a blessing too, right? Yeah, in our lives. I remember too, one of the things that God spoke to me about, and I talked about this, I think in one of the earlier episodes, is God speaking to me about how like actually my kids are my first disciples.
Mm.
And we do ministry, right?
Mm.
So we're constantly in that process of discipling, helping other people disciple others, and that's the core of who we are.
Yep.
We disciple people, but the most important disciples that we will have are the ones we're raising right now in our home.
Hmm.
And that's a powerful thought to have.
Yeah.
That's something that I think is important for us as parents to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, coming back to that verse that you talked about,
Mm.
children are a heritage or a legacy. And I think about that sometimes. And it gives me some perspective on the bigger picture of parenting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of parenting is about the logistics, it
Yeah.
is about managing school, is about, changing diapers if you're in that season.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get caught up, I think,
Yeah.
in all of that because that's 80% of what takes up your time. And that's the reality. And
Yeah.
that's fine,
Yeah.
Um, but if kids are really a legacy or a heritage, it means that I'm depositing something in them that will last for a long time to come.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like your investments, right? You
Yeah.
think about legacy, giving or offerings. I'm investing something now because I know it's going to reap a return, or there's going to be something that outlasts me even after I'm here.
Mm.
And that's been helpful to me to think about. Like, what am I investing in them that actually reaps a long term
Good.
like return? What am I investing in them that goes beyond just me and my kids, but makes a difference in how they relate with others,
Mm.
and sets them up to make a difference, like to the world around them. A small example, at Sarah's birthday party, it was a swimming party, and she had invited like 10 friends to come. And one girl felt out of place.
Yeah. She even said it, I think.
She said it. She's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't feel welcome here, which I was puzzled about because these are all like, good friends. But
Like 8-year-old drama.
yeah, whatever the reason was. But I was really proud of Sarah because I think she sensed it.
Yeah.
And she left the group of friends and then she went to this one friend and basically held her by the hand and was like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, why
Mm.
don't you come? Like, why
Mm.
don't you join us? And I thought, man, there was something there that was so much more valuable than how she does in
Yeah.
school, or what accomplishments or achievements she has. There was something in there about her heart, and her character, and I think her sensitivity to where people were.
Yeah.
And so it was a proud dad moment. But things like that, like I want a legacy in things that look like this.
Good.
I want a heritage in the influence that my kids have on others, in the blessing that they are to the people
Good.
around them, and so that helps me to zoom out a little bit, to be like, okay, I think there's a bigger picture here. It's not just about the administration of parenting.
Yeah.
It's not just about the load or the exhaustion of parenting. God, in the midst of all of that, like help me to see, am I making a deposit that is much more
Mm.
valuable? Because that is the legacy, that
Yeah.
is the heritage,
Yep.
that is found in my kids, and I think that elevates for me my role as a dad, and it elevates the whole exercise of parenting to
Mm.
something more than just all the stuff that I gotta get done.
Yeah, no, it's almost like what are you reproducing, right,
Yeah,
in the kids? Not just like physical, children, but actually you're reproducing like your values, right? You're reproducing life lessons,
yeah,
really, in their lives. I remember one of these parent-teacher conferences that happened this year too
mm,
with our son, right? And we were a little bit nervous about, I think coming into this conference because one of his subjects wasn't done very well, something like that, right?
yeah,
And so we were ready for it. Like the teachers probably going to tell us, do this, do that. But what shocked us was the teacher's first words were, "Hey, he was really excellent this year. He showed excellence."
mm,
And we were like stunned for a while. I almost felt like I was gonna like be in tears. Maybe I'm just an emotional mom. 'Cause I think a part of me just felt like I can't believe I walked in here thinking like this was gonna be about just his academics,
yep,
but it was so much more than that. And she helped me, I think, to see that he is so much more than just what his grades were,
yeah,
and to value the traits, his character, right?
yeah,
The fact that he was excellent in everything that he did.
yeah,
And so I'm learning that too, that yeah, maybe society and culture leads us a certain way in the way that we should raise our kids. And there's a real pressure about it.
mm,
But I think as parents, we, if this is our heritage,
yep,
this is the legacy, right, that we're leaving behind, then I want to be a bit more conscious
yeah,
about what am I leaving behind?
yep,
What am I reproducing in their lives? What if I ask my kids today, what do you think is important to us about you?
mm,
I really wonder what they will say. I'm a bit scared to ask them.
yeah,
I do wonder,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, and I think about, kind of like in a different time horizon, a couple of things. One, I think, look, anything worth doing that has
Mm,
a long-term result is going to cost you something
I
in the
love
in the
that.
near term.
Mm,
I'll say again, anything that costs you, anything that reaps a good return in the long term is going to
yeah.
cost you something in the near term. Um, and it's true with anything that you do. If you want to build good finances, you want a financial legacy, well, you're going to have to cut back now and budget. It's going to cost you something. It's going to be painful. Why? Because in the long term, it's going to reap a reward. And I think if we think about that with other things that we do, other investments that we make,
True.
actually, I think with kids, it's all the more so because it's your kids who will probably outlive you. It's actually their kids, as well. Last night we just had a dinner with one set of grandparents, and I was just thinking about that. I mean, we're a little young to be thinking about it, but it does cross my mind sometimes.
Yeah.
Man, one day I want to be a grandparent, and I want to see not just my kids but their kids, and experience the joy and the reward and the blessing that comes from that. And when I think about my parents, they're not worried about diapers or classes,
Oh,
or I
yeah.
mean they're way past that, right? Because we're independent. So it's really those like initial years, like a decade, maybe two, where you're actively parenting and you're investing.
Yeah.
It's a maybe 18, 20-year investment that reaps a reward in your own life for the next 50 years, as you see your kids grow, as you see grandkids. So why not, man? Why not invest, well for 20 years? Because for the next 50, there's so much that I get to experience,
Yeah.
But more than that, even after I'm gone, that generational blessing, I think, continues.
Mm,
And so, Yeah, it is. Some of it is so-called burdensome, in the
Mm,
short term. It will cost you something,
yeah.
but I think the return and the reward is so much greater.
Yeah, I think God knows that, right? And so in the Bible, it says their offspring are a reward, they're
Yeah.
a gift. And I think sometimes you don't feel the blessing until you actually have experienced the cost also,
Yeah.
or the work
Yeah.
that it takes to, raise a child, for example.
Mhm.
But because of the cost, because you've gone through the difficulty, the reward is even greater
Yeah.
because you had to like maybe struggle a bit, because you had to work at it.
Yep.
The reward is just so incredible. I mean, I see a little bit of it sometimes too now, even with the older kids, especially, when they
Mm.
come around and they hug or they like remember me about something,
Yeah.
you know, or they say, okay, don't say that about mama. One of them like
Yeah.
tries to defend me. I love it because sometimes it just feels like I think the reward is coming.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a bit of that. And it's unexplainable. It's hard to say. Hard to put a finger on it,
Yep.
like what exactly I did or what exactly it feels like. But the joy, the blessing, I think when you sacrifice, when you give of yourself, the reward is incredible,
Yeah.
And so I think keeping those things in mind, right? This idea of legacy, the idea of heritage, but also the idea of like, hey, God, there is a reward, there is a blessing. Maybe thinking of it as there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Hmm.
One of the things I remember during that first month of parenthood for us, when Josiah was, I think 3 weeks old maybe,
Hmm.
and it was a tough time.
Hmm.
And I remember there were times that I would be sobbing in the room, trying to figure out what to do, because it is hard. Okay, it is difficult. Parenting is not easy, and it's the first time we're doing it. And I remember my mom telling me something so simple but yet so profound. She told me very simply, she said, "Hey Gladys, I know it's hard now,
Hmm.
but remember that you will never get this time in his life back again. And so treasure it now.
Yeah.
Treasure the hard things, treasure, but then there'll be a time where it's good. So treasure those things too, because you'll never get back this time again."
Yeah.
Yeah. And that has stuck with me, I think, throughout my 10 years of parenting, because I now like wish it's like how you always say about Chloe, right?
Mm. Yeah.
What do you tell Chloe? What do you tell everyone?
I mean, it's just my little joke with the kids.
Yes.
Her birthday's coming up. She's turning 5. And so I told her, Chloe, this year we're not celebrating your birthday. She's like, why? I said, because you're really cute and I want you to be 4 years old forever. And so we won't celebrate your birthday so that you remain 4 years old forever. And she's like, you're tricking me. I mean, she's too smart for this kind of
Yes,
thing.
yes,
But
yes.
just that idea of like, can you just remain like this age forever?
Yeah.
Because I just want to pause time,
Yeah.
sometimes and just
Yeah.
just remain there.
One other thing too I remember, you say this too about how it's parenting is a perspective shift for you.
Mm.
You told me this before. If I was not a dad, I would probably be a workaholic. Right?
Probably.
And maybe to do with a bit of like, I wouldn't talk about time as time per se, but I think it's more about your priorities.
Yeah, I think the bigger thing is, look, I think we were made for relationship.
Yeah.
We were made for relationship with God. We were made for relationship with one another. The biggest investment that we can make, or the thing that we can do that is of greatest value, is with people,
Yeah.
you know. And at least in our culture, or for me, maybe I'll explain a bit about that. What what am I giving priority to, and what am I
Mm-hmm.
spending my time on?
Yeah.
And as a guy, I had a career, I have ministry, and
Yeah.
I'll invest in those things. My natural slant is towards that. And hopefully a lot of it is investing in people.
Yeah.
But I think by having kids, it's kind of taught me the real value. And kids get to you in a way that no other relationship do.
Yes.
They test you, they grow you, they reveal things about you. And so personally you grow. But actually it's almost like forced me a bit to like, hey, I think people are your priority.
Yeah.
Your kids are a priority. Your family is a priority. God's command was be fruitful and multiply.
Mhm.
And not just naturally or physically, but like make an investment in those things. And I've learned how to love. I've learned how to understand. I've learned how to take really complex things and make them simple. You know, for kids, I've learned to live like a a, a life of integrity
Yeah.
in the sense that who I am at home better be who I am outside as
Oh,
well.
I was just gonna say this. Like, actually, kids really keep us honest.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that happens in school, really, the teachers will come and tell me, oh, your kids told me about this and that and
Oh
this,
yeah.
a lot of detail,
Yeah.
and I always say, oh my goodness, they're going to school and like telling them
Oh yeah.
everything that happens in our lives. I better keep my life like in order.
Exactly.
And keep it keeps me honest, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, it's that, and you know, I think about it too. At the end of this, look, one day we're gonna go, right?
Yeah.
And when I look back, what is the thing that's gonna be kind of the thing I want to remember?
Yeah.
It will be your family. It will be the people that were close to you in your life. It will be the people that you made the biggest impact on. And who better than your kids?
Yeah.
You know, when you look back to be like, yes, God, I did a good job with them.
Yeah.
They were a blessing to me, and I gave my best
Yeah.
to them, and and God, I surrendered the kids to you because they're from you, but I did everything I could to be a good steward.
Yeah. Maybe I'll end off with this. I'm
Mm.
gonna throw a bit of a question to you.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, this is unplanned, right?
Unplanned, but what is your favorite thing as a dad? Like, what's the best thing that that you've experienced as a dad?
Wow. I think probably a couple of things that come to mind. One, um, reaching into their lives, and taking an interest in the things that they're interested in,
Mm,
and in return, seeing them open up and open their lives like to me, sharing things with me, and in that process of me reaching in and them kind of reaching back, discovering a level of like closeness and openness, in communication and heart that gives me the opportunity to speak life
yeah.
into them, and for them also to ask the deeper questions about themselves, about life, and I mean, and that's just so rewarding.
Yeah.
It starts off just as fun, but I think that prepares the way for you to go deeper and
Mm-hmm.
really build a deeper relationship that is unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it was really good. I
Yeah,
think the relationship part is probably the most rewarding thing to
yeah,
me. I kind of go back to what my mom said, and I want to end off with this really. I think treasure the time that you have.
mm-hmm.
Another mom actually told me this recently too. There's only so many years that they're going to like stay with you,
Oh yeah,
because they quickly grow up. They have their own activities, they become quite independent, right? And it's harder to, bring everyone together, later on. And so actually treasure the now.
yeah,
Treasure, like, don't wish the time away. Don't
yeah,
wish like time would go faster.
good,
Don't wish like, oh, I wish like they would grow up quicker, But like really treasure the present, treasure what you have right now,
mm.
and be fully in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we do that, it will be so much more fulfilling, and maybe we'll get to see that part of it being a blessing, kids being a blessing, and so richly like rewarding, I think, in our lives too.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so, well, thank you again
Yeah,
for sharing. I think we've never talked about like kids for just the both of us.
it's
You know,
good.
and
Now we
so
get to it. Yeah.
I know, but I thought it'd be quite significant since this has been a decade of us parenting. But just some of our favorite memories, some of our favorite moments by far. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and I hope this conversation has helped you to live full.